All right, so we selected this lick specifically because the way Guthrie phrases. Now this is a technique that he uses quite often. You'll see him throw it in, especially between a bunch of like legato lines or a bunch of fast picking stuff. It's a really nice way of phrasing that breaks up the monotony of just a whole flurry of notes. Because what he's doing essentially is he's playing a few notes, then he puts an 8th note or a 16th note rest in there. Then he plays a few more, and a lot of times he does it with a pattern that he repeats. Sometimes he'll repeat, like in this circumstance, he's repeating it up and down, moving it around the strings. There's another idea that we're going to go over where he uses the same technique, but he pivots off. He uses about 4 notes, and he pivots off of a different note each time, and he keeps going back and forth, but he's throwing in this little staccato-y rest kind of thing. And it's just a really cool technique. So what this will do too is it gives you an idea of a different way to phrase, because you may be used to doing your typical pentatonic licks or fast picking legato things, but this is a cool way that you can immediately use this and throw it into your own improvising technique. So he does it 2 different ways here, and we'll go over the first one first. He does this thing where he goes, right? And you can hear that little staccato. Da, 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 right? And then especially when he gets to, right? All those da, 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 da. So in between there, it's da, da, dot, rest, da, da, dot, rest. So the cool thing you can do is, right here he's using it in C minor C sharp minor pentatonic, or it could be looked at as E major pentatonic, right? And he's starting out with, that second note is the 6th of C sharp, right? So that's another thing you can use too. Instead of using just straight pentatonic, you could throw in a major 6 most of the time. Right, and you're substituting this flat 7 with that major 6. And another thing he's doing, he's throwing in all these little tones. He'll throw in a major 3rd instead of the minor 3rd. But that's an acceptable tone. He'll throw in the flat 5. Right? Again, another acceptable tone. And he also throws in the 9th, which is another tone that you can mess around with, which he throws that on the G string on the 8th fret. So you have, and he bends that up. Each one of these too, take notice, he's bending up slightly to add a little more flavor. Instead of without the bends, you have, right? But with, you have, then notice here too, he goes from that staccato thing there is a bunch of notes that aren't staccato. Then he gets back into the staccato thing. Right? It's just really cool how he kind of slips in and out of this. Another thing to take notice of is that little thing that he runs down, the, right? All those notes that he's running down C sharp minor pentatonic, but he's throwing in the flat 5, which becomes a chromatic thing. Then he throws in the major 3rd and the minor 3rd. Right? Now another thing you can look at is that line, instead of playing it there, you can play it all on the B string. And you can see how it's chromatically from the 7th fret, or I'm sorry, the 9th fret, 8, 7, 6, 5. Right? It's just a really cool little run that interrupts all this staccato stuff. So the way you can use this is you can use it in your pentatonics. Say you're playing C sharp minor pentatonic, and you don't want to use the 6th or the 9th or the major thirds, or you're not familiar with those. Just start doing that dot 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 dot. So 3 notes with the rest, 3 notes with the rest, and you can do something like. So that's just going down two notes and then hitting a note and bending it slightly. Right? It's the same type of phrasing, and it's a really cool technique. Use it in your every scale, as I always say, your Mixolydian, your modes, your everything, exotic scales, diminished scale, and just start using this phrasing. It works over everything. So later on, he goes into the same kind of staccato phrase, but he does it slightly differently. It's right? And what's really cool about that, again, it's just a slightly different way of going. This time he's starting with a long first note, then 2 notes. So there's no rest in this one, but that longer first note really makes it sound like da 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 da. And notice also he adds chromatics there. This is all pentatonic, but he throws in those 2 middle notes pentatonic. And he also goes, takes that flat 5 and bends it up slightly. Just a really, really cool phrase. And again, get those. Notice the first staccato had rests in it. The second one had just a longer first note. And take these and just use them all over the place to the point where they actually start becoming a part of your playing.